Greetings, everybody. My name is James. I am from the internet, and today we are going to be talking about what your labor is worth. Now, many moons ago, a far wiser man than myself once posited a theory that profit is merely the surplus value created by other people's labor. And while free market capitalists and bootstrappers would have you believe otherwise, it would seem that corporate profitability continues to rise to all-time highs, and the stock market, buoyed by their own stock buybacks, continue to reach all-time highs, while wages, i.e., what laborers are paid for their labor, has continued to stay conspicuously flat. In fact, so flat that finally this year, a whole bunch of people decided that they have had enough, and they all banded together and opted to withhold their labor until the wealthy capitalists opted to pay them more of their profits. After all, those profits are merely the surplus value of everybody's labor. Well, I think that old guy who posited that theory might have been onto something. So today, what I wanted to do real quick is take a look at an updated story showing you what happens when the workers withhold their labor. Because it would seem that capital without labor builds nothing. And well, capitalists don't like the idea of building nothing because then they can't profit. So it looks like they decided to come to the table and offer some laborers some more money so that they could get their projects back on track and start, investing their capital in making more money. Well, maybe now slightly less money because they're going to have to give a little bit more to the people who do the actual work. Let's take a look. An outline of a new contract between the company and the union released Sunday afternoon shows that more than 10,000 striking UAW members will receive 10% wage increases compared to what they made earlier this year. That's up from a 5 or 6% increase that John Deere offered in an earlier proposal, which 9 out of 10 union members rejected. If you remember, that came out right about the same time that John Deere edited their financial projections for the year and showed that they believed they were going to make $5.9 billion in profit this year rather than just $5.7 billion in profit this year. Wow, it's wild. And then all the laborers went on strike after hearing that. The company will also continue its pension program for new hires, which they were going to cut under the prior agreement. And compared to that agreement, the new proposal pays a higher rate for future retired workers. A 25-year employee would now see an extra $150 a month. The company also added lump sum payments that can reach 6 figures for future retired employees. So you see, here's the problematic duality of corporations. Corporations have to tout and yell as loudly as possible about their profitability and their revenue so that it drives up the stock price because people are excited about it as a positive investment. Oh, look at this company. They're making 20% profit on everything they do. Surely this is a good company to invest in. And blaring loudly that you've gotten so goddamn good at manufacturing that you're making billions of dollars in profit. Well, your laborers eventually hear that and decide that perhaps maybe they deserve a cut of that, since more often than not, they are the ones who are working harder to make more revenue for the company and yet somehow not making more income for themselves. In this particular case, it looks like that shit is about to come to a screeching halt for more than 10,000 people. Chris Larson, a 19-year painter at one of Deere's plants and the former UAW Local 74 president, said he expects to vote in favor of the contract after rejecting the initial proposal. Quote, "It's a hell of a lot better than what the union got us the first time. After 2+ weeks of strikes, we've definitely made some gains on this." The UAW's members will vote on the contract at 10 a.m. Tuesday. Union leaders said in a statement that Deere workers will remain on strike at least through the contract ratification. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I fail to mention that at the top? That just because there was a contract that was tentatively reached between John Deere and the union negotiators, that it doesn't mean the deal is set in stone yet? Did I mention that? Oh yeah. You see, one of the other great benefits of solidarity and labor unions is that now the deals of that contract get sent to every last member of the union. And then they all individually get to review those terms and then decide for themselves if they think that's a good deal or not and vote yay or nay. So this deal actually isn't done yet. Several UAW members said they felt the company owed them big raises after they worked through the COVID-19 pandemic, with executives telling them they were, quote, essential employees. The strike also comes as Deere and other manufacturers struggle to find enough workers. The lowest level Deere employees covered in the contract, such as foundry product workers, would see their hourly wages immediately increase from just over $20 an hour to more than $22 an hour. The highest level workers, such as electricians, would see their hourly raises immediately raise from $30 an hour to more than $33 an hour. And all they had to do to get that additional increase was withhold their labor for a few weeks. And just like that, mystically, Lieutenant Dan, look, I have more money to offer. More money, Lieutenant Dan, here. The company will also give workers 5% raises in 2023 and 2025, and Deere will reinstate quarterly cost of living adjustments that workers had previously lost back in their 2015 contract. Overall, UAW officials expect that workers will see a 30% increase in wages from the beginning of this year through 2027 when the contract ends, i.e., when they get to go back to the table again and demand even more. The contract also promises lump sum payments to workers when they retire. Employees who stay with the company for 10 to 24 years will get an extra $37,500. Workers who stay at least 25 years will get $50,000. In addition, Deere agreed to put another five-figure sum in an account for workers when they retire. If workers approve the new contract, the company will give employees an extra $2,000 for each year they've worked for the company. A 25-year worker will see an extra $50,000 bonus. Plus, it was reported earlier this morning that if the union members ratify this current deal, they will all receive an upfront $8,500 lump sum bonus for the ratification. And again, I cannot emphasize this part enough. All this took was a bunch of laborers coming together, deciding their labor was worth more, and then withholding their labor for a matter of weeks. And now they are poised to get a total 30% raise to their compensation package. Lawson, the union painter, said that Deere told union officials that this is, quote, their last best offer. If workers reject the contract, he said the company has informed the union they won't be back at the table for several months. Quote, that's a scare tactic, Lawson said. I can't see them going without production for 4 or 5 months. Maybe they'll bring in some non-union workers from down south. It's a big enough shit show when we're in there, and we know what we're doing. Dave Schmelzer, a 24-year quality control inspector in Milan and former UAW Local 79 chair, said that he expects to vote for the contract after rejecting the last one because he was sold on the boosted retirement benefits. And again, every member of the union will have their own individual reasons for deciding to vote for or against this. Obviously, enhanced retirement is going to appeal more to the workers who have been on the job for 20 and 25 years and were planning on leaving soon. However, it's worthy of note that they did not leave the next generation of workers behind. They rejected that first contract because part of the first contract was getting rid of the retirement package. And they decided to look out for the other union members, the people who were coming up behind them. And that is the kind of worker solidarity that gets the fucking goods. Schmelzer said, though, he's worried that the majority of members will reject the contract on Tuesday. He believes some workers think Deere executives will put forth another better offer. He pointed out workers are currently taking a pay cut, receiving just $275 a week while on strike. He doesn't know how long they will be able to stay strong if the strike stretches through the end of the year. And of course, this ties in with the vague threat from Deere saying that this is their last best offer and that they will walk away from the table for months if it's rejected. Months, considering that it is already November 1st, means none of you will receive paychecks throughout the holiday season, and oh yeah, enjoy walking the picket line out in the freezing cold in places like Iowa. Because of course, even when conceding that workers' labor has higher value, the capitalists still need to put a tamper down on those expectations. Hey, listen, we offered you this chunk here, okay? Don't get fucking carried away. And as for too much, or else, we might have to start threatening your livelihood again. You'd think they would have learned the first time from doing that, but no. Quote, there's no guarantees that you'll get more if you just keep striking, he said. There's a substantial loss for striking for 3 or 4 months. You can't get that back. You can't work at a high enough hourly rate to chip away on that loss. It's just gone. John Root, a 16-year assembler in Waterloo, says he still plans to reject the new contract on Tuesday. He said Deere can afford to pay higher wages than what executives offered. Root says he knows cashiers who make as much as some workers at the factory. He circulated a petition among UAW members demanding across the board $10 an hour pay raises, which would come out to hikes of 33 to 50%. Quote, the whole country is looking at us to set the new standard for skilled assembly labor. So what does this mean for you, the average viewer at home, the fellow member of the working class? Well, to start with, it means that people continuously prove the point that if you come together, demand better, and withhold your labor, chances are the capitalists will be forced to acknowledge that your labor does indeed have more value. In fact, it has so much value that that value is what's called their profitability. And when corporations are making billions in profit, it means that they are underpaying their employees by billions of dollars every year. So please, people, take this example with you. Regardless of whether or not they decide to take this offer, they have already proved the point that if you stand together, that if you have class awareness and class solidarity, that if you stand by fellow members of the working class, if you demand more, if you withhold your labor, that you can bring the capitalist investor class to their knees. Because again, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last time I say it, capital without labor produces nothing. So go out there, everybody, and demand better. Until next time, my name is James. I am from the internet, and I am out. Peace.